So I want to talk about something very important in this video, like actually talk to you about it. Because if you're in high school or just finished, you've probably been hit with the question, so what are you doing next? Are you going to college? What's your plans? What do you want to be? And honestly, that question alone can make you feel like you're already behind before life even starts. College is probably one of the most stressful things in your early adulthood. I remember when I finished high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Everyone acts like you're supposed to have this whole life plan at 18 right before you graduate. And I was like sitting there barely knowing what I wanted for dinner when my parents asked. So instead of going straight to college, I took a break. I mean, granted, I graduated during COVID, so going to school seemed a bit of a tricky situation. So I took a break. I went to work. I was a laborer for a local plant, and honestly, it taught me a lot. I learned what long days felt like and real responsibility felt like. And it taught me that getting an education was very important because working a job like this, although I was making decent money and being able to save that money, it just wasn't what I wanted to do for life. It seemed good at the time, but that was mostly because I was living with my parents and I was lucky enough not having to pay rent and being able to save actual money. But I knew realistically if I was out on my own, this job would tear me apart, chew me up, and spit me back out. And that's one thing nobody really tells you. Working right away gives you a different kind of education. You learn discipline. You learn how jobs actually work, and you learn what kind of work you don't like just as much what you do like. But at the same time, I started thinking, okay, is this forever? Or do I want something more specialized? I remember at the time I still didn't understand and fully know what I wanted to do, but I knew what I was doing was not what I wanted to do at all. So I decided to go to college for business. A pretty basic move, but something different, and just to give me an idea of what college and post-education would be like. And I'll be completely honest, I hated it. And I'm not someone who struggles with school. I usually have relatively good marks, and I kept up with a lot of the people in my class. So not because business was bad, or because the course was hard, but because it just wasn't for me. Sitting in a classroom doing theory all day, learning about stuff I couldn't see or touch yet, it felt disconnected from real life. I kept thinking, I'm paying money to be here, and I don't even enjoy what I'm learning. So I dropped out. But I wasn't sad about the experience. I'm glad I went there. Again, it's a whole different kind of education when you experience these things in person. Now, minus the bit of debt I got from going here, yeah, it was a little depressing, but it was worth it for sure. And if anybody asked me, would you do it again? Yeah, if I didn't know what I want to do, I definitely would do it again. So after I dropped out, that's where it got really confusing. Because now I wasn't in school and I didn't have some big plan. I just felt stuck, like, okay, now what? So I went back to that same place I worked before, this time a bit of a different job, this time a bit different. I got to do something different. I got to drive trucks instead of always constantly being a laborer. So I went back to work again. But this time, I found an opportunity from my hometown that I didn't expect. I worked as a water plant operator in a student position. And that job was huge for me because it was hands-on but also technical. I was learning how real systems worked, how water gets treated, how equipment works, and how everything connects. This was a saving grace for me as different kinds of jobs down home were very rare. A lot of the times you were working at different places just being a laborer or minimum wage jobs. So when something like this popped up, I knew I had to take advantage of it and I had to get in contact. And I'm very fortunate for that situation as it made me a lot more cheerful about dropping out and moving back home. But before I knew this position was going to be granted to me, I was also waitlisted to take refrigeration and AC mechanics at college. And when I finally got in, I went back to school again. And this time it was different because now I wasn't just sitting in class for no reason. I actually understood what I was working toward. I enjoyed it. I liked learning how systems worked, how to fix things, how everything had a real world purpose. I gained some of that mechanical knowledge from my water plant student position. I graduated, went into the field, and worked in refrigeration and AC for about a year. And honestly, I did enjoy it. But then something interesting happened. A full-time job came up back at the water plant in a different town. Full-time water plant operator job opened up locally, and I had a choice. Stay in the trade I just trained for, or jump ship and go back to something that felt more stable and more aligned with what I learned on the job. And I chose the operator position, and the decision alone taught me something really important. Your first plan doesn't always have to be your forever plan. So when people ask, is college worth it? I don't think the answer is straightforward or is just yes or no. Because the truth is, college costs time. It costs money. It forces you to decide what you want to study before you even fully know yourself. That's a huge downside. You could spend years and thousands of dollars on something and realize halfway through, I don't like this. And that's stressful. I've been there. At the same time, college does give you things that work alone doesn't give you. It gives you structure, it gives you technical knowledge, it gives you certifications, and it opens doors that might stay closed otherwise. Now, the real debate is, what's better, hands-on work experience or classroom experience? And honestly, neither one is better by default in my experience. Hands-on work taught me things school could never, like how people actually work, how systems actually break, how stressful those situations can be, and what a job really feels like day after day. But school gave me the theory behind it, the why, behind the how, and when I combined both, that's when things really clicked. If you want to be in a trade or do something physical or start earning right away, going straight into work or a trade school can make way more sense than a 4-year degree. But if you want to do something like engineering, healthcare, science, or anything that requires licensing, college isn't really optional. So the real question isn't, should I go to college? It's, what kind of life do I want? How do I learn best? And what kind of work do I actually enjoy doing every day? For me, it wasn't a straight line. It was work, then school, then work, then school, then switching paths again. It's very confusing, and unfortunately, there is no straight answer. I think one of the biggest lies we're told is that taking a break means you failed. Sometimes taking a break just means you're learning in a different way. I remember feeling ashamed when friends' parents would ask me, "Oh, what are you doing? What have you been up to lately? So-and-so is out to college and they're doing this, this, and that." And I'm just sitting there saying, well, yeah, I've just been working at a minimum wage job or just working some other generic job around town. And that's okay. So if you're sitting there right now feeling confused, like you don't have it figured out, that doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're human. We all experience this and we all go through it the same. Obviously, other people's paths are going to be different depending on what you want to take in college. Mine was more trades related and hands-on, but I did try to get into something more white collar by doing business, and I found out it wasn't for me. And that might be the opposite for somebody else. Somebody might dip their toes into blue collar and then realize it's not for them and that a more white collar job is for them. College can be worth it. Work experience can be worth it. Trade school can be worth it. What's not worth it is choosing something just because everyone else expects you to, and not choosing something and having regrets. You got to really truly find yourself in your early adulthood, and it's so difficult, but you really got to find out who you are and what you like and what you will appreciate to do, because you're the only one who has to wake up and live that life, and the decisions you make will mold you for the future. I think no matter what, as long as you're doing something and being proactive, working different jobs doesn't matter, or trying different subjects in school, or even doing self-learning at home. As long as you're being proactive, you're making some kind of progress, and I think you're going to make out just fine. So yeah, is college worth it? Sometimes not, and sometimes just not yet. And sometimes you just don't know until you try. If you're struggling with the same issue and you want to have a discussion in the comments, feel free. I'd love to talk to you guys about it, and I'm sure other people viewing this video would love to join in on the discussion. So leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.